Welcome back to my channel, the best place for hardworking and ambitious millennial professionals who feel stuck in their careers to find their dream careers. Now, in this video, I'm going to share why a career transition while unemployed during COVID is a good idea. Now, I need to preface this at the get-go that this is a bad situation for everyone and that there needs to be a lot of compassion and empathy during these rough times. However, our options are really either to wallow in self-pity or really rise to the occasion, or somewhere in between. And to be honest, I'm a fan of the latter one, where you don't just wallow in self-pity and you actually go take action and you see the silver lining and you look at the glass as being half full or half there, but definitely not half empty. And so therefore, it's important that everyone knows I'm coming at this from a position of empathy and compassion, and that, yeah, this is a pivotal moment for a lot of people, and there are positives that you can draw from this. And the whole point is to look at the positives, however limited or few that you may feel they are. Now, if you are new to this channel is all about ways on how to bring positive change to your careers. And if that's what interests you, then click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for updates when new videos come out that will help you in your career. Also, join my Facebook group called Career Change Advice, where you can chat and connect with like-minded individuals who are interested in making their careers work for them rather than the other way around. Hi, I'm Dr. John Tam. I have a PhD in sociology from Oxford, and I'm passionate about helping millennial professionals find their dream careers through gaining clarity and building soft skills. So having established all that, and that we're coming at this with a glass half full kind of mentality, here are the 6 reasons why you should make a career transition when unemployed. Reason number 1, the world is changing rapidly and we don't know what the new normal is. Companies have restructured during COVID. And this is from talking to a lot of different leaders from different industries, people who run their own businesses, people who are C-suite, people who are executives, and so on at their companies. And with any restructuring, a natural outcome of it would be laying people off. And so a lot of companies that previously couldn't, really shut down and, restructure and bring on a new program or adopt new systems have now done so. And a lot of times they've gone to become more digital and more global with more AI, robotics, more automation. And with 5G coming in the future, you can just see that work is no longer going to be the same. And so that's why you need to roll with the times, and that the fact of the matter is you don't know whether that job that you used to work before COVID is going to be there. And at the end of the day, skills are going to matter more than titles. And I talk about this in the video, which I'll put in the cards above, about the soft skills trends and how soft skills and hard skills are going to be constantly evolving in the future. And so definitely you need to come to terms with the fact that the world has changed after COVID and it's not going to be the same. And jobs and skills of the past have pretty much moved on. The second reason why you should make a career transition during COVID is because you've already experienced disruption. And a lot of times people refuse to make this transition because they don't want to deal with the ambiguity and the discomfort of not knowing what's going to happen. They want a consistent paycheck. They want consistent people around them. People simply cannot handle too much volatility in their daily lives. And because the disruption has already happened, this may actually be the best time to capitalize on this momentum. And you need to take ownership of what you do rather than being driven by random forces that's totally out of your control. Because if you think about yourself being a toy boat on a river and the river is just driving you in different directions, the best thing to do in this situation is slap on an engine and drive yourself, because with random waves and random trends, you're going to get random results. And that's why it's so important that if you are already thrown into a river of fate of not knowing where you're going to end up, the best thing you can do is slap on an engine and try to swim your way towards that direction. Now, notice I'm not saying travel upstream and fight against the trend, because it's already happened and you cannot fight against a trend. Like, not many companies have been able to survive the onslaught of Amazon in terms of wiping out traditional bookstores. There have been some boutique bookstores that have survived, but those are bookstores that have a lot of foot traffic, and that they're the exception and not the rule. So not everyone can swim upstream against the trends of time, and that's why it's important to know that disruptions already happened and you need to make something out of it. And to figure out the next move, I would highly recommend you to check out my video on career exploration strategies to know what's out there, what are my next steps, and what should I do. And I'll put that video in the cards above. And honestly, it's a very good video because this type of stuff is usually behind a paywall for like career coaches, and I'm just giving it to you for free, right? So definitely check that video out. Now, the third reason why you should make a career transition is because COVID-19 has given you the best excuse to do it. 2020 has been a very terrible year for a lot of reasons, but one silver lining is that this is a year that no one is going to question your employment gap. And this is the same as 2008. If anyone looks at an employment gap in 2008, they would naturally attribute that to the Great Recession, because those gaps are explainable and it's clearly something that's outside of your control. And if you haven't seen my video on job hopping problems, I highly recommend you to check it out. I'll put it in the cards above, because that video highlights the fact that job gaps are probably one of the hardest things to explain away. And 2020 is basically the natural excuse for anyone to wipe off job gaps in this year. And so you need to take this opportunity, because many people will be sympathetic to it. And this is probably the only time in the last decade where you can take a risk to make a career transition without worrying too much about explaining, this pivot and this change. Now, based on these first three reasons, do you agree that COVID is a great way to explain the gap? Let me know in the comments below. The fourth reason is you now have time. And instead of spending the time that you now have that you've previously spent 40 hours on working full-time, instead of using that on Netflix or gaming 24/7, you can use that to educate yourself, to upskill, to make side hustles, and try to make something work, something that you've always wanted to do. Because as I said, the new normal is that there is not much that's normal right now. We don't know what's going to happen. And there may never be another opportunity where the government is as supportive as they are right now, right? I'm in Canada right now, and I understand the Canadian government is very supportive of its people during this time. In the US, maybe not as much, but you are still getting, more than what you would usually get otherwise. And, other parts of the world, they have different strategies and different ways of helping and dealing with this problem. But basically, this is the best time because the government is actually helping you to make this transition, to smooth out this process, and there may never be another opportunity like this, right? And so if you want to know what to upskill, I would highly recommend you to check out my hard skills versus soft skills video, which I'll put in the cards above. Now, the fifth reason why you should consider making a career transition during unemployment in 2020 is that with chaos comes opportunity. And this is actually, found in the Chinese language. We have a term called 爱 right, or 危机. And it's basically two characters put together, right? The first character is danger or threat. The other character is opportunity. And this has historically been the case where whenever there's chaos and whenever things are not normal, there are always opportunities for people to stand out, to grasp that opportunity by the horns and, make something out of it. And that's kind of like the whole Wild West mentality, right? Back when the internet just first started, there was so many opportunities for people to explode and, grow on there until it became saturated. And in fact, a lot of the giants nowadays that you see on the internet were founded in the 2008 recession. Back in 2008, when the recession hit, a lot of people were like, hey, wait a second, there's, I can't work my regular job anymore. There's the internet. Maybe I can make something out of it. And of course, some people were more successful than others. And this COVID pandemic is similar to the 2008 recession in that it's probably going to happen, once every decade or two, right? And so you can view this chaos that we're having right now as an opportunity for you to get something out of it, to get a high payout out of this. And the only way to do that is to take a risk. And not just any risk, a calculated risk where you can push your limits and test yourself to see, can I make something out of this opportunity? And if you can't, it's fine. You can always go back to work for someone, right? Because at the end of the day, there's 40 million jobs in the US alone that needs to be rehired for. And if you try to make an opportunity out of this chaos and it doesn't work out, you just have to reposition yourself so that you're one of the first ones right out of the gate to land a job, right? Because right now there's not a lot of companies hiring for people, but once the floodgates open for hiring, you want to be one of the first ones to be hired. The sixth and final reason is you need to embrace the now. And, there's a false Chinese proverb, and I say false because, there's obviously like fake internet proverbs and quotes and sayings being thrown around, but it sounds pretty cool, so I'm just gonna say it. Like, there's a Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. The fear is overwhelming, but the fact of the matter is you've already been pushed outside of your comfort zone, right? People are usually stuck and hung up on titles and prestige and their pay and so on. And that's, most of the clients that I work with, a lot of times they're like, I don't want to transition because of I'll go from a director to, assistant manager or whatever. They don't want to take that title hit. They think it's going to cripple them on their resume and it's going to hurt them. But the fact of the matter is, it won't. And so a lot of times people would prefer security. But at the end of the day, if you look at the research for people on their deathbeds, they usually talk about things that they regret that they haven't done more than things that they have done. And there's something to be said about embracing the now. And I want to bring it back to a real Chinese saying, which is a Taoist saying, and it's that, the only constant thing is that change is constant. And so the only options are, do we want to embrace the change, or do we want to resign to our fate and let, the tides of destiny just push us wherever we want to be, right? And as you can tell in this video, I prefer to have some control and, set a goal and try to strive towards it. You need to aim for the best possible outcome and make your best shot and fall as close as possible to that outcome. Because there's no such thing as a perfect career. There's no such thing as a perfect job. There's always going to be things that you don't like about it. There's always going to be things that, trouble you in life. But you will be much less troubled if you have a goal and you've thrown your dart as close to it as possible. If you're considering a career transition, then I would highly recommend you to check out my free training on how to make a career transition to find your dream career, and I'll put it in the links below. Also, download my free guide on how to find your dream career, also in the links below. And a major factor that determines whether a career is satisfying or not is your personality. So I would highly recommend you to also take my free, quick, and accurate career personality test, which I'll also put in the links below. Make sure to join my Facebook group, Career Change Advice, to be in a community of people who are interested in making their careers work for them rather than the other way around. In my next video, I'm going to teach you how to decode a job description in terms of the soft skills and the hard skills so that you can make a smooth transition. Basically, I'm going to teach you how to reverse engineer a job description so that you can write the best resume possible for that job position. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell for updates for when that video comes out. Leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts about this video. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your friends if you found this to be valuable. Take care.